Hi everyone! This video will be all about creating a public service announcement, also known as a PSA. This will be your final project for Unit 6, in which you've been studying ancient Greek democracy and what makes a good citizen. So, what exactly is a PSA? We've all seen them on TV and magazines, social media, and maybe we just didn't know what they were called. Because a PSA is any short message in the public interest with the goal of raising awareness of an issue and or changing attitudes and behaviors towards that issue. In this case, your issue will be related to what makes a good citizen. And on that note, let's look at the parameters of your project a little more closely. In this project, you will be writing and creating a public service announcement for your community, informing your audience about what makes a good citizen, drawing on examples from Greek democracy, and including a call to action for how they might take actions to be better citizens. This can take the form of a written script, a video, or a print ad. So how do we create a PSA? Well, no matter which final form you might want your PSA to take, either way, the very first step is that you'll need to start with writing out a clear script or outline. In this video, we will walk through how to design an effective PSA in 5 simple steps. So let's get started. Step 1, you'll want to choose a clear message. Having a clear message is the most important part of your PSA. Ask yourself, what is it that I really want people to know about what makes a good citizen? You can draw on everything you've learned about ancient Greek democracy, and you can also think about your current society. Think about your community and what you believe makes a good citizen. Once you've come up with what you want to focus on the most in your PSA, you can come up with a simple and fun slogan. Here are some famous examples. I'm going to give you just a few seconds to read through them. So, what do these all have in common? Easy answer. They're all short. That is the number one most helpful characteristic of a slogan. You want to take your message and make it come across in as few words as possible. Cool. So once you have your clear message and you've maybe come up with your slogan, the next step is going to be to choose your specific audience. Now we know that with your PSA, you are speaking to members of your community. But ask yourself, are you targeting in particular other young people, parents, teachers, or some other group? In any case, consider your audience's needs and preferences, as well as the things that might turn them off to hearing your message. Remember, they are the ones that you want to rally to act. Once you have your clear message and you've thought about who you want your exact audience to be, the third step is how to hook your audience. Decide how you will grab their attention. Now, getting your audience's attention at the start of your PSA is so important because you want them to want to listen to the rest of what you have to say. So there are 3 different ways that you can think about getting their attention at the very beginning. The first one is emulation. This is something that suggests qualities in people that others may want to imitate. For example, the best citizens treat others the way they want to be treated. When I hear this, I think, hey, I want to be one of the best citizens. I'm going to be more thoughtful about the way I treat other people. The second hook tactic that you could use is the bandwagon. This is something that suggests that everyone is already doing it, so you should too. For example, don't be the only person who doesn't cover their mouth when they cough. Again, when I hear this, I'm thinking that I do not want to be that person. So I'm going to think good and hard about changing my behavior. Lastly, you can inform your audience of an injustice at the beginning of your PSA. This is when you attempt to shed light on a problem in order to get others to act in response. For example, when I hear every day thousands of people in our city go hungry, that immediately makes me want to become part of the solution, to do what I can to help. No matter which tactic you use, your goal here is to grab people right at the beginning and get them to care. So once you have your clear message, you've thought about your audience, and you've thought about how you're going to hook them, the next step is step 4, using persuasive elements. This is when you're going to ask yourself, how can I convince them to care about my message? You can use any combination of the following persuasive tactics. 1. Statistics. Do some research to find statistics that are relevant to your message. Anytime you're using facts and figures, it helps people to take your messaging more seriously. 2. Examples. Use specific examples that are relevant to your message. Special hint, this could be a great place to reference what you know about Greek democracy. Number 3, stories. Telling a personal story is an excellent way to persuade others to care. Do you have a story that relates to your message? If so, think about how you can infuse it in a way that will compel others to act. And lastly, humor. Don't be afraid to use humor in your messaging. Is there a way to incorporate a joke, silly examples, funny dance moves? Anything's on the table. Be creative. You can use any combination of these to think about how you will be most effective in getting your message across. And the 5th step is making a clear call to action. This is when you determine exactly what it is you want your audience to do. In what ways are you asking them to be a good citizen? Be as specific as possible. Do you want to make sure they're staying informed on current events? Make sure they're volunteering their time, they're voting, that they're washing their hands? In any case, whatever your call to action is, make it clear to your audience. Awesome. Those were the 5 steps. Before you dive in, I have some more helpful tips and resources for you. Firstly, I think it's important to watch some examples of video PSAs and just start to ask yourself some guiding questions to think about what makes a good PSA and what doesn't. So here are 2 websites that you can go to watch any array of examples. And while you're watching, you can just think of the questions listed on the screen. You don't have to write them down. These are just for you to be analyzing so that you can take what makes a good PSA and use that to create your own. Next, if you do know that you want to create a video PSA, one very helpful tool is to create a storyboard. So after you write out your script, you can actually create a storyboard that gives you a place to write what you want your audience to be hearing and draw what you want your audience to be seeing. And you don't have to use a special handout or anything at all. This can just be sketched out on paper. This is just a way to put your thoughts in order and to plan out how you'll shoot your video in advance. And getting your PSA in front of as many people as possible is the goal after all. It is a public service announcement. So if you do choose to create a video PSA or a print ad, strategize about how you can circulate it on social media. When posting to Instagram and Twitter, find relevant hashtags to use. Tag organizations who might be interested in sharing your message, and ask your friends and family to share widely. Okay, well everyone, those are the 5 steps in creating a PSA, as well as my helpful tips and resources. So lastly, as Pericles would say, you got this.